Hi, and welcome to SteveDonnaTV. It's mid-February here in Nova Scotia, and it's also a long weekend. Steve and I decided to go down to the valley of Nova Scotia for a few days. Our first stop, dropping off Haven and another Australian Labradoodle, Bella, to our breeder for a sleepover. Then it was off to Sainte, Famille, a winery near Falmouth, Nova Scotia. So here today we are at the start of the Annapolis Valley at a winery that is Sainte Famille, and this is Tracy. She is the owner's daughter.
So the winery itself has been here for 30 years.
Okay.
And it was started by my parents. Our vineyard, we've been growing grapes here at this site for 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're one of the oldest, you said?
Yeah, we're the third oldest winery in the province. This is our main winemaking area, so these are all of our stainless steel tanks. The tanks vary in size. These big tall ones hold about 4,000 liters. These ones in the middle hold about 2,000. And these ones are different than those. These are what they call a variable top.
Okay.
So that means that the lids, you can lower them. So if you don't have a full tank, you can lower the lid to reduce the airspace, which helps protect your wine.
Right.
Black bands, these are cooling bands. So typically in the fermentation process, especially on the whites, you want to try to keep the temperature cool. Well, not cold, but you want to keep it at a consistent temperature. And it just helps bring out the flavors in the grapes when you're fermenting them. So that's why we have these bands on there. So in the fall, when we're harvesting, we have our crusher and our press, which was that big oblong thing you saw when you drove in.
Yes.
So that's our press. We dump the grapes in there, the juice comes out, and there's hoses that are connected to connections outside that feed into this. And then we'll connect a bunch of hoses here and with pumps, and we'll pump the juice into whichever tank we need to put it into. And then that's determined by how much juice we have. So
Right.
you want to try to keep as much of the varietal together.
Okay.
And not have separate batches on the go if you can. Sometimes that's not possible.
Right.
So with all these tanks,
if
they will hold roughly around 50,000 liters in total.
How long does the process take from the time that it goes into the tank to you bottle it?
Typically on a white, it can be anywhere from 6 to 8 months. Reds do take longer because most wineries it goes through 2 different fermentation processes. So the first one takes probably a month, and then the second one, which is called a malolactic fermentation, can take another month, maybe 2. It just depends on how quickly that finishes off. So when we harvest, we usually start harvesting in October, and it's usually about a month by the time we pick all the grapes and get everything in. So you're talking just in the fermentation alone, probably a couple of months with that whole process. And then you've got to settle the wine, you've got to rack it off several different times to get all the sediments and everything out of it, and then you'll let it sit and just let it kind of age just to develop the flavors a little bit more. And so usually between 6 months to a year or more.
Wow.
Just depends on what you're trying to achieve.
So is there any wine in these right now?
Oh yeah. In this one we have
The rosé.
That we're working on. This is what's left. We had some leftover 2019 our Scotia Red. So there's about 1,000 liters in that tank. Back in 2018, the entire province, as you probably know, was
I remember.
late frost by our standards. And basically wiped out most of our crop for 2018. So then the plants are in a recovery mode all that summer. And then in 2019, when the plants were still in recovery mode, the spring that year was very wet and cold.
Yeah.
So again, that sort of set the plants back again. And then for 2020, it started out good, and the plants looked really like they were recovering really nicely, and there seemed to be a lot of fruit out there. But the dry temperatures in August really reduced the water content in the grapes themselves. So even though it looked like we had a lot of fruit, when you actually harvested it, you weren't getting the tonnage, and that wasn't translating into juice.
Oh.
So yeah, so because we don't irrigate here, most of the wineries don't. It's never really been an issue because typically grapes don't need a lot of water, but what we know now is they need some water.
Right.
We've been fighting Mother Nature's force around here for the last 3 seasons, and so we're hoping for a better season this year.
And a lot of people that go and purchase a bottle of wine, whether it be a $20 bottle or a $200 bottle, they just need to sit back and understand what goes through the process and how long it takes.
It is a long process because when you think about if you were starting a new vineyard, you're not harvesting grapes for at least 4 years.
Right.
So from a new vine until you can actually get a fruit off of that, it's on average about 4 years, and then it'll ramp up year after year. So you're putting out money into the vineyard constantly, and you're not necessarily getting that return. And that's been the struggle the last 3 years, is you still have to take care of that vineyard. It still costs you the same amount of money to look after it, but you're not getting as much out of it. I think you have to be somewhat of an optimist in this business.
You do have to be. Yeah, you do.
You lose your mind otherwise.
I know.
Not a lot of wineries have their own bottled wine. It was something my mother invested in 30 years ago. The machine itself is probably close to 50 years old.
Oh, wow.
But my winemaker takes really good care of it.
That's good.
We still have 2 different vintages of what we call our vintage du Poche.
Okay.
The Marichal Poche is one of the varieties that we grow here. It's one of our primary reds. So we still have a 2016, so we'll probably bottle that this year. And we have a 2017 coming behind that. And then we also have our Kingsport, which is a fortified red. It's like a port-styled red.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is oak?
Yep, these are oak. So we have different, the primary one here I think is Hungarian, but we do have some American oak. I'm not sure which ones those are. I think all of these are Hungarian. The American oak might be those ones over there. So when my mother was looking for a name to, identify here, she looked up some of the history of the area and came across this name, what the original name of the area was.
Yes.
So she thought, yeah, why not? Because it was a family-based operation, so it made sense. So anyway, that's where the name came from. So these are some of our wines that we've made over the years, and occasionally we enter stuff in the competition.
And that's
won a few medals.
You've won some medals.
Yeah, these two are the first 2 wines that we produced. The Marichal Poche, and then this one was in the Chernets. We no longer grow that variety anymore.
So that one got a gold.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you so
Hope you
much,
enjoyed
Tracy. We sure enjoyed it.
It's awesome.
And we're glad we got a couple of bottles.
Yes.
Well, it was a great tour here at the winery. We learned so much about wine. So one last thing, this right here is the pavilion that they've got at the winery that can be used for receptions, parties, family reunions, anything that you want to rent it for. You get to decorate it yourself. So you might want to think about that, all you brides-to-be.